very much in favor of the counting of points.
Does it work for you? No.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the run-through. We're back, despite all odds, right? This is the Figure Skating Podcast where we're going to run through all the things that make us kiss, make us cry. I'm your host, Adam Rippon.
And I am your other host, Ashley Wagner, repeater of basically 2 programs my entire career. Today we have a really fun show in store. We wanted to kick off the summer season right. We're going to be talking a little bit about tour life, Stars on Ice. We're going to get into the programs that never really quite made it to competition. But first, we must introduce.
We must.
The one, the only, not Olympic champion, but now 2-time Emmy winner, Sarah Hughes.
Woo!
Sarah, congratulations.
Thank you, everyone. And thank you, Adam, for saying we're here despite all odds instead of against all odds, which is the phrase that you meant, I think.
Nope, I meant despite. Despite the odds. Despite
we're here
the
spiting
odds.
the odds.
We are. I mean, you are definitely doing that because this is now the second Emmy that Olympic champion Sarah Hughes does not have.
Yes, but she does have a candidacy for elected office, and I don't have that.
Which you do not have, no.
But you know what? That could be right around the corner for you, Sarah. You never know. All you have to do is
believe.
Try.
Apply for office.
Despite all odds, you could run for office.
Well, before we get into our show, we all have some big news. Obviously, Sarah's news, becoming a 2-time Emmy Award winner. I was at her place last week. I saw where the second Emmy will go. She pointed it out. It's a great spot.
Mm-hmm.
I got to see her first Emmy, all shiny and up in its corner.
I shined that before you got there.
I appreciate that.
Yeah.
And the best part about going and visiting Sarah was that I told her that because I am pregnant, I am craving clementines. And I showed up and her entire house was filled with clementines. She also temperature controlled them. She wasn't sure which ones I wanted. So I had option for room temp and also refrigerated clementines. And then later that night, because I was surrounded by so many of them, I started dreaming about them. So thank you, Sarah, for that experience.
Wow.
No problem.
You really know how to treat a pregnant woman right.
That's what people say about me all the time.
I've said it once, which is the only
That's how
time
many
I've
times
said
you've
it.
said it.
Yeah, I've
Yep.
said it once.
But Adam, you also have some pretty big news. You just returned back to planet Earth. Welcome.
I did. Thank you so much. My perspective has changed. Not at all. And I went to Mars. And so I actually was on the show. I'm sweating. Stars on Mars on Fox. When we're recording this, tonight is actually the premiere. And probably when it comes out, it's the day after the premiere, when everyone can see that I am a legal, recognized by the U.S. government astronaut.
I can't wait to watch. I have heard all of the appropriate behind the scenes information that I am legally allowed to hear. And it sounds like it's a great show. Check it out. That being said, we're going to bring it back to this planet and we're going to dive right on into the off season. So why don't we get started with talking about tour life? Obviously, not every single athlete that's competing on the world circuit is going to go into the shows or right into any kind of touring, but a lot of Canadian, American, Japanese athletes often go straight into the show circuit. And so, Adam, can you kind of speak on what that whole experience was like for you when you were competing?
Yeah, I'd love to speak on it.
Speak on it.
Thank you. So, yeah, basically, I always saw going on a tour as sort of like a reward for having a good season. Because if you had a good season, you were asked to go on these different tours. There was a few in Japan, there's Stars on Ice, there's some throughout Europe. And I always saw this as this like amazing opportunity to like celebrate your good season with all of your good skating friends and just enjoy. You can perform, you can relax. And I always really, really enjoyed being on a tour.
Oh, I loved it.
Yeah,
it was my favorite time of year.
Yeah, you were a tour girl for a long time.
Oh my God, many, many moons. I think I toured with Stars every single year from 2012 all the way through to maybe 2019.
That's a lot of years.
And it's a really special experience. I think that there's a lot of reasons why some skaters do go straight into the tours and why some skaters don't. So you kind of have to weigh your options. By the time I was invited to skate with Stars, I had just become national champion. And so I had kind of put in the years of work necessary for me to kind of feel comfortable taking off some time in the summer, like the spring summer season, to just go and tour. It's a nice way to kind of coast right out of your season. You're still in competitive shape. You're doing show programs, so it's lower stakes. It's just a good time. And it's also it's a way to make money, because you have to think about how athletes, especially figure skaters, have an opportunity to make money. There are athletes who receive either government funding, or you get funding from your federation, your Olympic organization, and that funding can definitely help take you through your season as an athlete, but you're not making money that way. Skating is so astronomically expensive. And so when you get asked to do these shows, they're actually really one of the only ways that a skater, outside of like brand relationships, that it's the only way we can really make any money.
Oh, totally. It's like also this reward for having a good season also means that you'll be able to fund the next season, because this is where a lot of us would make the majority of our income through the whole year. And we'd be at a really big disadvantage if we weren't on one of these tours. We'd have to, coach a lot in addition to training a lot. So it's really something that's really important to a lot of these athletes. And also, it's a great chance to, when these shows come later in the summer, to test out new programs, to try different things, to, try different elements that might be difficult for you. And you have like a whole tour to get over the fear of trying a new element or trying a new layout. But it's definitely not the same as training, because I would always leave a tour being like, I'm in the best shape of my life, and then come home after the first practice and be like, I'm actually, LOL, in the worst shape of my life.
Why does Raph want to fire me? Why is he so mad at me?
Again, here we are, yet again, being threatened with a firing.
But I think that you make a really good point. Shows like, the first show that comes to mind for me is The Ice, which was Mao's show. And that was midsummer-ish.
Yeah, like end of July.
Yeah. And so at that point, like skating timeline, a lot of these athletes are getting their programs either choreographed around May or definitely within June. And so you would get off your tour. Stars on Ice just wrapped yesterday, actually, Sunday. And so this was actually a pretty late tour for them. Like, I feel like most of the Stars tours I was on ended right around mid-May, because my birthday is May 16th, and it was always like one of the last shows on tour. So they're a little bit later into the season. And then you would probably go take about 2 weeks off. You'd go on a vacation. Like, Adam and I would like go take our trip somewhere. And then after that, you go right into getting your programs set. And so who would you typically go work with, Adam, to get your programs choreographed? Well,
so also it's like finding this perfect balance of like trying to book out time with the choreographer that you'd like to work with, because a lot of the people that you're on this tour with are also going to work with a lot of the choreographers everybody else on the tour is with.
You're like fighting for the same 2-week time slot, and you have to, one program to choreograph takes like at least 3 days, but realistically you need to set aside probably 4 to 5 depending.
Yeah, I would say like, okay, if I'm choreographing, that's a new one. I'm going to get choreographing of the year award this year. But yeah, if I'm doing a program, I know that I need at least 3 days for a short, and I need at least 4 for a long. And if I have somebody coming from out of town to do it, I need 4 for short, 5 for long, just to make sure, especially if they're not like LA local. So
Right, because you don't want them to have to come back to finish a program.
no, or the worst thing that you can do, which have I done it? Yeah, of course I have, is leaving somebody with no opening or closing position, which is the worst part of choreography is the opening and closing position.
I worked with Shaylin Bourne the majority of my like late career. And when I tell you that we would spend hours on an opening position, and every day she'd come in and she would change it. And Shay is like this ethereal, whimsical, like, I don't know, water nymph of a person. Like, she's just a magical
water
person.
Nymph is totally right.
Right?
Water nymph
I'm
with
not
a
that person.
blunt bob.
She's stunning. But I'm not that person. And I would want to, it drove me crazy. And you would just have to, she brings this positive energy and I would be up a wall. Because I knew at the end of the day with me, it was always going to be 2 feet on the ice, weight over one leg, 2 arms by my side, looking off into the distance. But did it take 5 hours to choreograph that? Every single time, yes.
Okay, well, I'm going to step in here and go, that's not true. Because every time you came back with a program from Shaylin, you'd be too afraid to not do exactly what she had choreographed. So I would say everything was very intricate when you would come back with a program. And I'd go, these transitions are just, they're so difficult. And it's one of my favorite things about you is that you always when
Never did them.
well, they started out with like, this is maybe the most intricate program I've ever seen. And then slowly rockers turned to 3 turns and Choctaws turned to Mohawks. And then you eventually made it back to where you felt comfortable on both feet.
Which was crossovers.
But that's also another thing that's, you know, I'm teasing you, but it's a normal process of like, you try to do as much as you can. And when you're making these new programs, I think the biggest thing is that you do and you add a few things that like you have trouble with. And the idea is that you're going to improve. And what a normal like process is that you see how much you can do, you see what's difficult, and then you try to scale back. So
right. There's a deletion process. It's so normal because obviously we learn these programs and anything Shay did, I would always be just so obsessed, 100% bought into. And then you take that program by itself and it's already exhausting.
Mm-hmm.
And then you add in a program with triples or quads and it just at a certain point has to be a little bit more watered down. And that's kind of how the process goes. And I mean, the number of illusions that Shay would put into my program every single year, like, and by illusions, I mean like the little tilt-a-whirl, like step, head to the ice, foot up, and spin around. When she told me to do them, I looked at her and I said, okay. And I said in my head, I will never do that.
I've never seen you do an illusion.
Exactly.
Huh. That's interesting.
My greatest illusion.
Do you know that I had a rule with every choreographer that I worked with that I wouldn't do any lunges in the middle of the program.
Because it would like eat up too much of your energy?
Of course, I'm not bending my knee further than I have to and then get up and then do more jumps. Are you kidding me?
I mean, I think that's pretty fair.
It is fair. It's not an Orange Theory class. It's a long program. I can't be bringing up the heart rate higher than it needs to go.
Right. And you can't be bending at someone else's will.
No, especially at someone else's will.
Well, I feel like that kind of organically gets us into this next little bit, which is really why programs kind of shape up the way they do, why we end up using some programs, why you end up seeing programs just completely ditched around, I would say, like July, August, and how that even happened. So I think first great point that you brought up, Adam, was that a lot of skaters use the show circuit as kind of this test event for their programs. I always really loved skating short programs in shows late in the season because I felt like it was just like the perfect way to be like, how is the audience going to like this program? Do people like it? Can I skate it well under pressure? Is it actually a performance or is it just a competitive program? And I feel like that was the best place for me to figure out what worked and what really didn't.
Oh, and there's this also, it's so crazy where you're like, I have this genius idea. And everyone around you agrees this idea is genius. And you're going, well, that's because I am genius. And you work on this program and it's amazing. And you're just like, this is the thing that's going to be talked about for years. And then you'll skate it in front of an audience and you'll get off the ice and you'll go, no, I can, what?
Immediately. And immediate no.
It's so interesting how like the energy of skating something in front of people is so different from when you're like intimately talking about it with your team and even showing everybody like inside your rink of where you're training.
Yeah.
Just as soon as you get out there, it's a completely different feeling. And you either know that like, yes, I can work on this. It feels right. Or you know right away that like, we got to start over. This is not going to work.
Yeah. And I think it's also really important to note, and this isn't the case with every single athletes like team, but some people are surrounded by yes people, and that's what they need to feel good in competition, and that's what they need to train. And so when you have a bunch of people who are like, this is the best program I've ever seen, this is so good, I love this, and then all of a sudden you're in an environment where you're not surrounded by your people who owe it to you to hype you up, and then you get that real feedback, that can be really eye-opening. And some people, like, I don't think we were ever surrounded by yes people. I didn't want to be surrounded by yes people. I wanted to be surrounded by like coaches who would tell me that I was like a terrible skater, so that I was like motivated. That was
positive reinforcement.
Yeah, I needed that push though, and that's the kind of athlete I was. And so I feel like a lot of the time when I would doubt something, I think that was one of the reasons for me that like La La Land ended up not making it to competition until my last event, was because I doubted something and then I asked my team whether or not this program was good enough and whether or not it was like the same quality and caliber as Moulin Rouge, and I was told that it wasn't. And so it got in my head, and I think that that's kind of, there's just a bunch of different environments that athletes exist within, and what they need from their coaching team changes a lot. And that can really affect whether or not a program goes the distance.
And I also think like every coaching situation is different. And what I think for us specifically, Raphael was really into us being independent and us making our own decisions. So a lot of times we never even told him what music we were using. We would skate a program and get no feedback right away. Like we would really show up with like a brand new program, skate it, and hope Raphael was like pumping his fist or something like, yes, this is the one. Yes.
Yeah.
And if you didn't get that reaction, you were like, fuck, like, what am I? Okay, I'm going to call Jeff Buttle right now.
Send it back.
Yeah, and so it can be really tough. And so a lot of times, like, not a lot of times, but I guess there were a few times where I would get a program and it might not be the reaction that I wanted from Raphael, but it was a test in like, did I love it? Did I think it was going to work?
Yeah.
And if it was, then I was going to just, take that as motivation to like prove to him that this is something that is going to work. And so he really like, I know I can't speak for you, but I know that for me, Raphael really gave me like no sort of creative direction. And so, and I actually liked that because I felt like I could go to him if I wanted an opinion, but it helped me reinforce the opinion I already had, or it helped me rethink like, okay, should I do this differently? Is everything working here? I know, so like I did a Beatles program in like the 2015-16 season, and Raphael liked it. But I had a piece of music in the middle, and I think it was like I think I had Yesterday as the slow
You
part.
did. Yeah.
And something just felt like off. And I really liked everything else about the program. And I remember that Raphael was like, yeah, it's good, like blah, blah, blah. And something just felt off. And I was like, I think it's this piece of music, because I didn't like when I speak about the Beatles as when they were yelling at me, and they would go, all my troubles seem so far away, but now they're here to stay. And I'm like, I'm going into a triple axel, which that's a problem. I don't want that problem to stay.
I remember you bringing this up to me, and this was one of those moments where I was like, we couldn't be more different as athletes. Because I'm like, my music has lyrics. They're saying something, and you're like, they are foreshadowing.
Oh, yeah.
What is going to happen?
And so I was like, I need a different piece of music as this slow part, since it was a medley anyway. So I changed it to Blackbird. As soon as I changed it to Blackbird,
it was so much better.
It was so much better. And it
was a mental change. I feel like that's what I saw, because when it was Yesterday, it worked just fine. Right? It was a great piece of music. People love Yesterday, but I think you identify so strongly with what that section of music is saying, and you needed just to feel like there was some kind of a shift in that tone and message. And then as soon as that happened, the way you skated that program and that section in particular, I saw a huge difference.
I know for me that like I felt like it was light and it was fun in the beginning, and Blackbird just felt like beautiful and I could smile throughout it. And it just helped me keep an energy like all throughout. So like those little changes in a season, they happen because not every time you skate a program, you're like, oh, I have to scrap the whole thing. Sometimes you just need to make like little minor adjustments or change out different pieces of music. So it really like, I know like as a skating fan, when you watch these programs, you're like, oh yeah, they do change and people switch things around. But like it's totally, you have to grow with these things.
Yeah. I completely agree. And what you're saying was exactly what actually ended up happening with La La Land. And so, Adam, you make this point that Raph never really offered us up a lot of creative feedback. And the one, like across the board, super consistent thing that he represents as a coach, that he demands from his athletes, is independence. And that was one of his greatest gifts to me. Because his point was always, when you're out there, I'm not out there. Like, he can't be out there and fix our problems at that point. We need to be self-directed. We need to understand the problems we're dealing with. We need to take ownership of our skating. And that was the best gift he gave me in my career. And so it's not that he told me, this program is bad, you have to change it. But I went to him and I said, this music doesn't feel as big and as powerful as Moulin Rouge. And he goes, no, it's not. Which is just simply, an observation. Yeah. It's a fact. It just wasn't as big and as powerful. And I would say when I was competing, there was like some duality to me as an athlete, because I felt like the persona of who I was as an athlete was very confident and, self-assured. But I was really not super confident in myself and in my skating. And like, Adam, you were a huge help in that, because I felt like whenever I felt a little bit lost, I would come to you and you would kind of help me figure out a direction and a plan. And you'd say, all right, Raph is mad at you. This is what you're going to do for your training the next 2 weeks until he's no longer mad at you. And so I think in that moment, I was looking for someone to be like, nope, this is good. Or, you're right, it's not as powerful. Why don't we go back and amp it up with some more instrumentals? And so when I went back to Moulin Rouge for the 10,000th time, and I competed it the entire season, and honestly, at that point, it was my third season competing it. I was done. I was done with it. I didn't really connect with it anymore. It's like that story had been told. I had done the most I was ever going to do with it at Worlds. And so when I got to the end of that season and it felt tired. I felt tired. I wanted something new. I went back to the drawing board with La La Land and I asked Shay if we could add in some more instrumentals to make the music bigger. And she had someone like add in some drums and add in some just bigger sounds. And as soon as she did that, I heard that music and was like, this is it. This is a huge instrumental piece that I just feel is sweeping through the rink. This is what I want. And then I was so confident in it because we had made that little adjustment and it changed the feeling of the music entirely. And then it was good to go and ready to compete. But like looking back, that's my biggest regret in my entire career is not skating that program the entire last season.
I just wish I could have seen it more because I think there's like so many programs or not I don't mean programs. There's so many like skates that you've done that like in my mind are like, oh, these are my favorite like Ashley skates. I think I think like 2015 US Nationals Moulin Rouge first Moulin Rouge round.
First iteration.
Round one. I just the red dress. Obviously like I love the Worlds Moulin Rouge as well. From that same Boston Worlds, I love Hip Hip Chin Chin. And I also love 2012 US National Short Program.
Oh my God, a little Jackson Pollock moment.
Yeah, because that was like the first year that you were like, I'm going to actually win nationals and not just the long program from coming back from like 12th place in a short program.
My favorite thing to do was be like, am I actually going to get 4th place? You'll never know.
And also 2018 nationals long program. I just think it's so good. It's one of, and regardless of like the results, it's one of my favorite programs you've ever done. I love it. I love Moulin Rouge. And you know what? Maybe, yes, you would go back and you skated a whole season, but I'm grateful that you skated it at least once and you skated it really well.
Yeah, I am too. And I think that regardless of what happened, it's more I got to end with that program. And that program is one of my favorite performances of all time. I will never forget
of any skater
down on the ice of any
skater. Yeah.
I'll never forget kneeling down on the ice though and like closing my eyes and being like, oh, I've never started a program kneeling before. This is fun.
That was another thing I always said that I would never do is start on knee because I just didn't want to ice my knees before I skated. And
I never started my program on my knees. I always skipped that part.
And another thing about you, I know that this is just turning about like into something about you, but you would like do artistic things that I've never seen you ever do. Like in competition, and it really scared me. And I feel comfortable.
Really?
Oh yeah, you'd like when you were practicing like La La Land, like you were always like performing it and doing it in practice. And then like when you skated it for the first time, it was like you took a deep breath and then you closed your eyes. And I was like, she should really open those eyes. Like I don't think she's gonna be off balance.
I almost fell. That's hilarious.
But one thing that's different about you and me is that like when I would practice, I definitely was like giving a competition level amount of artistry.
Yes.
Because if I didn't do that, I was not like I was never going to do more than what I had ever done at practice because I really needed to be like on autopilot. You were definitely in the pilot seat. And we were hitting turbulence and we were going around mountains and we were avoiding obstructions in the air. Not me. I'm on the plane. I'm on a 747. It's on autopilot.
You knew exactly what was going to. Adam was one of the hardest workers I've ever trained with. And I don't just say that because you're sitting in front of me. He would train so insanely hard. And I would look at that and be like, damn, I should train like that. And then wouldn't, because he worked so hard.
I loved it though. Adam, that was my favorite part.
You loved the process. You loved training in the way that I loved being unhinged. What programs for you never made it to competition?
So I obviously we all know here we're amongst friends. I'm a mess.
Pregnant.
I'm pregnant. And I have to leave, actually. So I am my own biggest fan. And And that's how I get into what we get into next, which is I had a program. And okay, so I think another reason to just go back to La La Land for a second, I think another reason is that like there's just this like Olympics around everything where it's like it's not a normal season because this is when like so many more people are going to be watching these programs. And so you really want your Olympic programs to be like, this is who I am. To the casual viewer who has never seen me before, I want you to know that this is who I am.
This is why I'm special.
And so I thought, what makes me special? And I went, oh, it's being a about average singer. And so I had a program that I sang, and it was like, so this is what I was thinking. I'm not gonna win the Olympics. Let's be real.
Right.
But I can win the hearts of millions, and I thought that I could do it through my voice and my skating.
Through the medium of song.
Through the medium of song, also with the medium of talent. And so I recorded this version of Diamonds because I had skated a version of Diamonds by Rihanna in Stars on Ice because I had tested this version out and I really liked it, but it was too slow, I thought, to be a full-on short program. And I thought, like, I can't find the right version. And I jokingly was like, what if I just, like, sang it? And then, of course, that was just the Jack and the Beanstalk seeds I needed to fully grow a beanstalk to climb up into the sky.
Recording studio.
Right. To climb into the recording studio. And, you know, it wasn't bad, and I really liked the program.
Yeah.
But when I talked with like Raphael, you know, he had the same sort of like, it's good, but I think that your club program is like more powerful. And when I thought about it, like, you know, I broke my foot that season before, so my last event was the Grand Prix final. And I thought, you know what? Why don't I just repeat these two programs? I had to take like almost 6 months off. I only skated them a few times. Let's just do the same programs from the year before. I don't need to learn anything new. I can just focus on like my recovery and do the best I can. And I was like, these two really do like celebrate who I am as a person, as a skater. And so that's when I just kind of left that program on the wayside. But sometimes I see clips of like the footwork, and I did like a lot of this program. Like I did some of it on my own, but then I had Jeff Buttle, who is incredible, actually really do it. And I'm like, oh, there were like good parts. Like sometimes, do you ever watch the programs where you're like, this is just not going to work? And then you like come past a clip on it on your phone and you're like, this was actually amazing.
Yes. The program that you choreographed for me in 2015 season?
14-15?
14-15. See, now he's my coach. Now he's my choreographer. So Adam choreographed my short program that season, and it ended up being to the Adagio from Spartacus, and I loved that program. I thought it was really great. But every now and then I'll come across the clip that we took of the first program that you choreographed for me, which was to a classical song that I literally can't even tell you what it is, and Adam knows exactly what it is. But it was like, I was afraid of it because it was a classical piece.
It was the third movement from the Rachmaninoff's second piano concerto.
And I was like, I'm not a Rachmaninoff girly.
I'm not a rock girl.
Pressure. I'm not the Rachmaninoff girlies that have come before me, I just couldn't see myself as one of them. And now looking back, I'm like, that program was so good.
You know, sometimes I'll see that clip, like, you know, you'll just be on a plane and you'll be going through every photo you've ever taken from 2012 on.
Right.
And I'll go past that clip and I'll see it, and I think because I so badly wanted to do a good job, because I was so honored that you asked me to like make a program for you, that like there were some really beautiful and interesting transitions, and it was so nice. And then Raphael heard what music you were skating to, and he went, and I went, oh
no.
And I was like, he's just gonna watch it. But this was your first year with Raphael, and you came back and you were like, no, we have to change it. And I was like, okay, we'll change it.
Yeah. And I said, you know what the world needs more of?
Spartacus.
Another Spartacus Adagio,
right?
Actually,
which had you already skated to?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. No, I had already done it.
Yeah, Delaware's finest Spartacus, because you trained in Wilmington then, right?
Oh, if you ever want to see one of the world's ugliest dresses,
I
go back in time.
Don't agree.
I cried when I tried it on the first time, and you know what? It fit the bit, but the bit being, gosh, I should like know the story of Spartacus, but I think it does not go well for the female characters in Spartacus.
I don't think so.
No.
Also, wait, so like there's another part of like putting a program together, and I think that you were also pretty famous in doing this. I did it a few times, that like sometimes even if a program is good, it feels stale, and so the only thing to do is to get a new costume.
Every time. Before you get a new program, you get a new costume. And the reason I had 5 different Moulin Rouge costumes in the 2017-2018 season, even though I probably only competed it 3 times.
You still had 5.
Because I was like, I just need to freshen it up. I need a new look, a new vibe. And a costume can absolutely, because it's like the character you're creating.
Totally.
You put on a new costume, you're a new person.
Yeah, I changed the usually I didn't, because I was like, that shit is expensive. I'll just suck it up.
Yeah.
But sometimes I didn't suck it up, and I did get a new costume. And I know that like at Olympics, I wanted to have 2 different costumes, because I knew that like I was going to do the team event long program.
It's so ice dancer of you.
I know. And I was like, I want to give the audience 2 different takes. I'm completely out of my mind, because that was a true and honest statement I said. This is also coming weeks, months after I went, I'm going to sing in front of millions of people, which, yeah, I can do, but like I shouldn't do that.
Out of respect to Rihanna.
Out of respect to professional singers everywhere who deserve a platform of 1 million people.
Wait, but who did it first? You or Star Andrews?
I did it first. I'm Adam Andrews. But Star is a good singer.
Star is an amazing singer.
I'm not trying to say I'm bad. I'm just trying to say I'm untrained.
No, Adam would always, like, we would drive in the car a lot, and Adam would always, you know when you can hear people singing at the exact volume so that they can hear themselves sing? That would be Adam singing, but he was actually a like really decent singer. And for a while he was like, I would always just like love to like perform live. I think that'd be like really fun.
Yeah.
And honestly,
an anvil
you're
smashes me in the head.
You're playing your talent down. You have a great voice.
This is now
but
turned into...
But you made the right call.
Yes. That is, I did make the correct call.
Yeah.
It was very like YouTube. Oh, but also I did sing.
Drop the single.
And I did sing at exhibitions.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you why. I'm going to tell you why. It wasn't because I went, oh, now's my chance. So this is the thing. We were just talking about shows earlier, and everybody loves to be a part of the exhibition after a competition because it means that you did well. It's great. But there's this other side of the sword that you're exhausted and you don't always warm up properly.
No.
It can be very scary. And so like I was so worried because the season before I got injured, I broke my foot, and I was so adamant at not getting injured that I was very nervous about the exhibitions. And I was like, I would just like to just rest. Like, please, I just don't want to do the exhibition. I don't want something silly or stupid to happen. And I was like, can I just sing this song that I sang? So I used like the music and sang at 2 competitions. I sang at and so basically I only sang in Japan. I sang at an NHK
Adam is
trophy.
a Japanese pop star.
100%. And I sang at a Grand Prix final.
Where was your Grand Prix final?
In Japan.
Okay.
Somewhere in Japan. I don't remember where exactly, but I sang it was probably more than the Japanese audience signed up for, but I was like, they're just going to be watching skating. They love it. And they're like, why aren't you doing it? I stood in the middle in a leather jacket from Top Man.
It was a sight to be seen. And honestly, it really gave camp. And that brings us into our next segment, which I hope everyone is prepared for. We are bringing back the Ashley Wagner It's Giving Camp Award. And today we want to talk about each of our individual nominees for the campiest programs of all time. We have quickly prepared for this because I suggested this before we hit start on the podcast.
Yes.
And so that being said, I'm gonna get us started. And my first program and only program that I want to nominate for the It's Giving Camp Award would be Elena Radionova. Okay, Sarah.
That was so close.
Tell me.
Radionova.
Okay, I'm not hearing a difference. Radionova. I really listen to anybody out there who is either a Russian skater or a Russian in general or with a Eastern European last name. I valiantly try and often fail, but I care. So her Titanic program is my immediate thought for
very good.
One of the campiest programs of all time. There were slides. There was plenty of dramatic face touching. I, at many a moment, was just thinking it was Rose out there in her purple dress, just yearning for Jack's life.
Right.
Yeah. That program was so good. It was so good.
And it was actually a good program. Like, that's the thing. Sometimes campy programs are not good programs. This was a good campy program.
Yes, it was a very good program. I did love it. And it was like when lyrics were first allowed, and she really teased us the whole program until Celine Dion started singing at the end, and she gave us the full satisfaction of a ship that went under.
She was under. And I loved how big she skated. The dramatic reaching, it felt so real. So that would be my camp nomination. Adam, how about you?
My camp nomination goes to Kurt Browning just finished his, I think, 30th Stars on Ice tour.
He did. This was his last and final tour. Now, I do feel like I have been on a few of his last and final tours, but I think this one is the for real last and final tour.
I do, which 30 tours is it's incredible, but
it's insane.
But it's made me think of my favorite program growing up. And I don't know if you'll remember it. You should. That he did this clown program on Stars on Ice.
Oh, yes.
Sarah, you should go back and watch it. It's iconically incredible. It wasn't even much music playing, but like, it's so campy. It's so incredible. It's exactly what a show program should be. And he did it all with like a red nose, and like he'd scream in the middle. Like it was it was so good. It's my favorite campy program.
Honestly, when you think about show programs from like the 90s, there in early 2000s, that was just superior skating. Because didn't he skate to, oh my God, it was just a guitar, and it was him out on the ice in this like white little tank.
Yes.
And
oh my God.
It was just the sexiest, just this like raw, very traditional masculine program that was just so good.
It was so
I loved
good.
that program.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. He has had so many like obviously good competitive programs, but I know him as like these incredible
the show skater.
Yeah.
His Singing in the Rain program.
Yeah, so good. And also he choreographed Super Hobby, which is another one of my favorite.
That's camp.
That's very camp. Super Hobby. I'm done. I'm pregnant.
Oh, wait. Well, then that makes me think immediately of Caitlin and John Luke's Swan Lake program.
Yes, very good camp.
That's giving camp.
It is giving camp. Sarah, I'm curious, do you have a program that gives you camp?
I would like to nominate Max Aaron's Techno Lion King remix.
Yeah, done. And the award goes to. Yeah, that's incredible.
Yeah. I watched that program. I think he did it, at like a senior B initially. And so the first time I saw it was just like on YouTube at my office. And it was like really good. It's very, it's the initial part of the program is just like the big sweeping Lion King music. And then I think in his step sequence, it goes into this like techno kind of remix of Circle of Life. And that sent me into another dimension.
It sent you to Mars, I just came back.
I was on Stars on Mars before Adam was. And it was when I saw Max Aaron doing Lion King. That program was so fun and insane.
Insane.
Okay. You pulled that one out of the archives because I was worried for you because before we started this, you were like, I'm really trying to think and like I'm racking my brain. I don't know. I was not sure where you're going to go with this.
Oh, I have one more. I'd like to add.
Go.
Vanessa Guzmaroli, 1999. She was a jewel thief. And she had like just like slinky jazzy music so the like old French skating was like completely Pasadena Playhouse Theater. And so it's slinky. She's doing this thing. It's like sexy and she's all in black. And then all of a sudden she goes into the middle. She pulls down her sleeve. There's a diamond bracelet on it. She skates around for 1 second. There's like alarms that go off, like police alarms. And the whole last minute is a police chase in freaking credible. It's
oh my god.
You need to look it up.
The pulling down of the sleeve makes me think of another program I considered nominating, which was Anna Pogorilaya Halloween Weekend 2017 at Skate Canada. She had a disaster Halloween skate of a long program.
That's
but the
so
camp
unlike
part
her.
of it was that the reaction to it was, I don't care about this. At one point on like her third fall, she got up and like fixed her elbow length glove before she kept skating.
I can vividly remember.
And I think that got actually a medal at that event.
It might have. Okay, is one of my favorite skaters to go back and watch because she has such a bad attitude the entire time she's skating. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I'm obsessed with it.
No, I mean it. It's a fact. You can't look at that and go, hey, that wasn't bad. She's like kicking the ice. She's cursing out her mother.
She's flipping off the judges. I am obsessed with this woman. When she has a bad skate, it's performance art.
Right.
That's true.
Oh, Pogo. Good old Pogo. I will never forget. And I respect her for this. I was on the ice in my run through on a practice ice at Trophy Eric Bompard. She's on the same ice as me. Now, like if you're training at your normal rink and someone's like kind of in your way, it's totally okay to go like heads up or something just to kind of like get people aware. There's a way to do it politely and then there's a way to be like a complete asshole about it. But I tried to go polite. Often did not achieve that. Now, what happened? I don't ever do that on competitive practice ice though. You just go, right? It's very professional. It's very quiet. I'm in my program and I'm going into the Let's corner and she's coming around blind into, I think, just like a double axle. And I'm skating forward so I can see her, but it's my program. So I just do like a little like heads up because I didn't want her to hit me. She keeps going, but she sends herself into this massive pop. It's like huge. Slams 2 feet on the ice, kicks the ice, looks at me and starts screeching at me in Russian as I'm skating by her. And in that moment, I said, you are a thing of beauty to be respected.
Right. It was two giant bitches looking each other in the eye going, I see you.
I see you and I respect
And I
you.
respect you.
And I don't know what you're saying to me, but I know it's not good.
Exactly.
I loved it. Well, okay. I think those are really great nominations. I feel like we can definitely always come back to a little campy moment.
I think we
'cause there are
can.
just so many.
Yeah.
There's just so many.
And I feel like the listeners might have a few. So if you have a few that you'd like us to talk about, please let us know.
Oh, please send it in. Or even just like show programs in general or 90s programs or anything that you feel like we need to talk about, please send it in. We would love to hear. Sarah, do we have a Fierce or Flutz today?
I've come up with a few things
Okay.
to
Great.
chat about.
Do we have a theme to this Fierce or Flutz, or is it kind of
Not
a
at
free-for-all?
all.
Love.
Oh, good.
Free
Good.
for
Good.
all completely.
Good.
Great. Okay.
The first one is on theme with something you were talking about earlier,
Mhm.
being on tour, but specifically tour costumes for group numbers.
They are more often than not a Flutz.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
the budget got cut, I would say 15 years ago, they got real flutz real fast.
Real Flutz. But I will say, one of my favorite parts of Stars, when they do pull out the good ones, is they will pull out costumes from the archives. Like back in the day when Jeff used to design them, make them.
Yeah, Jeff Billings.
Jeff Billings. And in every costume, there's a tag that says who it was made for or who wore it. And so you would get your costumes and you would get to see like who your dress actually was made for. And so I was usually a Yuka girl. So I usually wore all of Yuka's old costumes.
Oh, that's so cool. I was a Kurt Browning or a Brian Orser kind of guy.
Oh, cute.
I know. I loved it.
Yeah, that was always my favorite part, is just seeing like inside the tag who the costume is actually designed for. And so when we got to wear the Jeff Billings costumes, fierce.
Very fierce.
But you don't always get to wear the Jeff costumes, and that's where it kind of becomes a little flutzy.
Yeah, agreed.
Borderline.
I came across this news on my twitter.com feed.
Mhm.
Ooh.
That the team doctor in Russia, Philip something,
Mhm.
is filing a lawsuit against the media for calling him Dr. Doping.
Okay, well, that's a flutz.
That's so fierce.
That's a flutz.
That's so fierce.
I love this.
Because that's insane, because he is Dr. Doping. What? I love this.
I love that he's acting like it's bad for his brand in Russia.
Or that it's
Like-
not his brand at all.
Oh my
And also,
God.
who's the media? Again, incredible work. The media. I'm going to sue the media next. I'm going to see what happens with this
that feels
lawsuit.
like it needs to be a bit more specific.
My third one is same gender ice dance, because we're in Pride Month. I assume you guys saw Maddie and Gabby skating together.
That is
Very
the most
fierce.
incredible piece of art I've ever been able to witness. Those two women on the ice together. And I love that they kind of went back and forth between who was kind of taking the lead and who was the one who was lifting, who was the one who was kind of guiding them through the spins. I thought that play of those roles was so cool to see.
Oh, I love it. And it was just like, it was just so beautiful. They're so good on their own that, like, oh my God, the partner
loved
work,
it.
it was just, it really was effortless. And my favorite part, exactly like you said, was just the ease of transition between who was leading. And it was
Yeah.
just, it was so beautiful. It's so fierce.
I loved it. I also just loved, because I think there is this kind of, in any kind of partnership sport, like especially figure skating, men have so much more power because there's more women looking for male partners. And for two women to skate without the need of a male partner and just look that good, that was the fiercest thing I've ever seen. So I think that was really cool. I'm really excited about what this is going to bring into skating. I think skating is such an old school, antiquated, stuck in its ways, ancient sport that needs to kind of be shaken up in some way, and I think this is a great start.
Agreed. I love it. I think it's always fun when people challenge the norms.
Yeah, and to do it in that way. There's a really great On Ice Perspectives video showing kind of the behind the scenes of the two of them talking out how they're going to like get into this next lift or where their weight needs to go in the spin. And I highly recommend that everybody go check that out because it's just interesting to kind of hear about their creative process.
Yeah, it's fascinating. It really is. It's a great video.
Yeah. Well, with that, friends, family, figure skating fans, our first summer episode is officially done. A couple housekeeping things next week or whenever we decide that I can't make promises. Our next episode, everyone's shaking their head. Our next episode, we are going to take some time to really dig into some of the cultural changes that I think a lot of us feel needs to happen in skating. So the episode is going to be a little bit heavier. Trigger warning if you are sensitive to anything that has kind of been going on in skating news lately, just to watch with care and compassion for yourself. Listen with care and compassion for yourself first and foremost. But we'll just be getting into a lot of the things that have been going on in skating lately and what we kind of feel needs to happen in order for everybody to move forward in a safe and healthy way.
Yeah, I think it'll be a great conversation. It's important to have conversations like this so that skating can be a happy, healthy, and safe place for everybody who's involved.
Exactly. So stay tuned for that. And as always, if you have any recommendations, please send them to us. Either DM us on Instagram. You can find me at AshWagner2010. I am also the exact same handle on Twitter. And Adam?
You can find me on Instagram at @AdaRip and on Twitter @AdamRipon. And you can subscribe and listen to this podcast on Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, iHeart, or wherever you get your podcasts. We love hearing from you. So please don't hesitate to reach out on social media and let us know what you think we should cover. We love hearing from you. Ashley, I think we did it. We completed a successful run through.
I'm exhausted. And I think it's time for us to say, as Raph would always say to us at some point on the ice, I don't know when, but he would.
Come on, buddy.
We'll eventually get that right. Sorry, guys.
We'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.